What's happening, Saints fans? Hope you guys are having a wonderful day. In today's video, I'm going to discuss 5 draft targets that I would be ecstatic about the New Orleans Saints selecting in round 1 of the 2024 NFL Draft here in April. But before we get into that, we had Dane Brugler join our guy Tom Downey, the athletics draft expert and the chat sports draft expert. They got together and made some pretty good content. And so we asked Tom to discuss the NFL draft around the New Orleans Saints. And just to kind of set the scene here, I want to toss it to our new friend, Dane Brugler, so he can share his thoughts on the Saints draft.
Right, the Trevor Penning experiment's not quite working out. So, yeah, would they go tackle again? I think they need a pass rusher. Mm-hmm. This is where we could see that first or second pass rusher come off the board. Mm-hmm. I know there's been rumblings about, would they unload Lattimore to free up space, and so could corner be in the mix there? But yeah, it feels like that's a spot there at 14 where we could see one of these defensive guys.
Thank you so much for joining the program, Dane Brugler. It was awesome to get the opportunity to interview you and ask you about the New Orleans Saints, but it's your turn, Who Dat Nation. Who would you select at number 14 overall? Be the GM, get in Mickey Loomis's shoes, and sound off for me in the comment section. All right, let's dive into these draft targets. My first guy I want to discuss is the edge rusher out of Florida State, Jared Verse. Let me tell you something about this Seminole. He is a damn good football player, and he is very, very intriguing as a prospect, if you ask me. Back in 2023, he had 41 tackles, 9 sacks, 12.5 tackles for a loss, and a forced fumble. I mean, this guy has been doing it for a few years now, and to be honest, at the NFL Combine, during his press conference, he was asked about, what makes you stand out? Why are you better than some of these other edge rushers or other players and stuff? And what Jared Verse had to say, I loved the mentality, and I loved what he had to answer. So let's throw it over to the FSU edge rusher.
I have respect for everyone in this class. All these guys are hardworking guys. I don't feel like there's anything athletic that separates me from them. There's dudes out here that are fast. There's dudes out here that are strong. I think the only thing that I have over all these guys that I had to earn was my hardworking ability. Being at Albany is something that made me get that. Only having one offer out of high school is something that forced me to have that ability.
So Jared Verse, you guys heard him from the horse's mouth. He is an interesting target. And not to mention, this year his production was great, but last year as well. He had 17 tackles for loss and 9 sacks on 48 total tackles. Dude's really good at football, and at the end of the day, the Saints defensive line needs some help. When you look at the current depth chart in New Orleans, Cameron Jordan, got to meet him over the weekend in Indy. It was awesome, and he's really, really cool. He's a great player, but the production is slipping, and he's not getting any younger, and he's kind of getting up there in terms of losing the production, and it blows, but the reality of the world we live in. Carl Granderson, he was really good this past year, but, need a little bit more than just one good edge rusher. Peyton Turner just hasn't really panned out, to be quite honest. Isaiah Foskey, a round 2 selection last year. I'm really excited about the guy, so I want to see him get some run in the rotation with defensive ends. And Tano Passanio, he was one of the Saints sack leaders this past season, and I think that he could be good, but I just want to get better. And another way to do that, this guy right here, Latu Latu, the edge rusher out of UCLA. If you want somebody who's going to just cause havoc and just cause problems for opposing offensive coordinators and just be a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks, found your guy. From Sacramento, California, and he played for the UCLA Bruins. I mean, look at the numbers for him. 13 sacks, 2 pass breakups, 2 forced fumbles, 49 tackles. This player is insane, and I'm so excited about Laiatu Latu, and I think that he would be a really good selection for New Orleans. We did get the chance to ask him at his press conference about his journey to getting ready for the NFL draft, and let's see what he had to say.
Well, really, it was just, being told you'd never be able to play football again. I never let it get the best of me. I mean, I continuously worked out, continuously got stronger, continuously worked, my pass rush moves and stuff like that, and really just locked in, never gave up on my dreams. I had dreams of being in this moment, being in the NFL since a kid, and I never gave up on that. And, God was with me through it all, and, He really blessed me and to be here in this moment.
So something else I want to discuss about Latu, similar to Verse, he's been doing it for a long time. This is not a one-year wonder. 2022, listen to this. 10.5 sacks, 12.5 tackles for loss, and 36 total tackles. I understand that he may have had some injury problems in the past. I understand that there's some concern there, and he might be undersized and stuff, but I said it last year, and I'm going to say it. I was right. I liked Ivan Pace for a lot of the same reasons that I like Latu Latu. Look at him now. He was a UDFA, and now he's starting for the Vikings linebacking group. Just going to put that out there. Latu Latu would be an awesome selection. And guys, I want to encourage you to join our family here before we get into some more of my draft targets. Subscribe for more Saints draft coverage. You see it on the graphic right here. And you can also see we're going to be live later this afternoon, so I encourage you to subscribe and turn on your notifications. That way you can join us at 4 p.m. Central Time here on Saints Now by Chat Sports. We're going to be discussing some free agency, some draft buzz. We're also going to be taking questions and hot takes from you guys as always. So encourage you to join us today, this afternoon, at about 4 p.m. Central Time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. That way you never miss any of our coverage. All right, sticking at the edge rusher position. If you couldn't tell, I want an edge rusher really, really badly. Dallas Turner, he's the next cat that I want to discuss because goodness gracious, this man he's good at football. Dallas Turner is what I would refer to just plain and simply as a great football player. He's a dog. 53 tackles, 10 sacks, 14.5 tackles for loss, and 2 forced fumbles for the Crimson Tide. And bear in mind, the Alabama defense, they got playmakers everywhere. And so the fact that he can stand out amongst the great players like a Kool-Aid McKinstry, like a Terrion Arnold. Last year, he played alongside Will Anderson. He's in a group of really talented football players that makes him that much better. And so we're going to kick it to another interview, but I think that what he had to say in terms of the development at Alabama and then switching over to the NFL and how that translates was so interesting. So I just wanted to share that with you guys so you guys could, learn a little bit more about a possible Saints draft target.
It's just the culture, so I feel like going into this professional level, it probably won't be nothing new for me, in my opinion, because, at Alabama, we trained as professionals. So, just like the day-to-day life and, just having a busy schedule all the time and, just being coached by Coach Saban every day. So, I kind of felt like that kind of prepared me a lot in a way.
Now, Dallas Turner is a good player. He got a lot of sacks in the end zone. Giggity, but we need some more sacks in New Orleans, to be quite honest. Carl Granderson led the team with 8.5. Demario Davis, as a linebacker, had 6.5. He was number 2. Your rookie defensive tackle was 4.5. A free agency signing, a rotational guy, 3 sacks. Tano Passanio, 3.5. The fact that Cameron Jordan wasn't even top 5 in sacks for the team, I'm not trying to knock the player whatsoever, but he's getting up there in the age column. He's, Peyton Turner is not a non-factor. What's going? Isaiah Foskey hasn't really been added to the mix. My point being, you need sack production. Dallas Turner, Latu Latu, Jared Verse can all give you sack production. If you want a guy who's going to stop sacks from happening, that's also a problem in New Orleans, to be quite honest. Olu Fashanu, the offensive tackle out of Penn State. And interesting enough, Mel Kiper, in his most recent mock draft, actually sent Olu Fashanu, the Penn State Nittany Lion, to New Orleans. So let's see what he had to say. Trevor Penning, this is coming in from Kiper, a first-round pick in 2022, has started just 6 games in 2 seasons and was one of the league's worst pass-blocking left tackles when he did play in 2023. Could the Saints decide he's not going to be their left tackle of the future? Similar to what Dane Brugler said, it shouldn't be out of the question, especially as they, again, have salary cap issues. Tired of hearing salary cap issues. The Saints, doesn't matter how much they're over the cap, I'm convinced they will have their financial situation figured out better than most teams every single season. So back to Kiper. If there's not an edge rusher or a wide receiver they like available here, they should take Fashanu, who has the potential to be that guy in New Orleans. Fashanu, who turned 21 in December, allowed a single sack and 8 total pressures in 21 college starts. He often dominated edge rushers. Now, let's look at the PFF grades this past season. He had 1 sack in his career. Didn't happen this past season. The overall PFF grade is stellar at 78.8. The pass blocking grade is incredible, 88.4. The run blocking grade, it's not bad. Could be better, but 70.5, I'll sure as hell take that over what Trevor Penning was doing. The Saints just honestly desperately need offensive line help. My number one target, I would like an edge rusher. But I also really want the Saints to address the offensive line, whether it's in free agency or in the draft. Personally, I'm in the boat of get the offensive line guys in free agency because it just doesn't seem like they've had some good luck recently in drafting offensive linemen. So that's kind of just recency bias. I have a sour taste in my mouth, but the production on your screen just speaks for itself. I mean, outside of Eric McCoy and Ryan Ramczyk, the rest of the offensive line stinks. Cesar Ruiz, you just gave him a contract extension last offseason, right before the 2023 year got underway. And pardon my French, he played like shit. James Hurst, not good either. Andrus Peat was a guard that they moved to tackle. He can play all over the line, but still, Andrus Peat should have been at the left guard position. Trevor Penning should have been at the left tackle position, but Penning is not good enough, so they had to move Peat. Look at the numbers. It was so bad. You tell me. I think that the two biggest needs, and depending on the day, I can go back and forth, I can switch. The two biggest needs for me, the trenches. Offensive line, defensive line. Those are my two biggest draft needs, but I want you to tell me, what's your biggest draft need for the Saints? Is it a quarterback or something? Is it wide receiver, a running back, a safety? I want you to get loud in the comment section because I always look forward to hearing from you. All right, let's just have some fun with this last one. Shout out producer Coop and shout out the Longhorns. Xavier Worthy. Why not have some fun with this pick, man? Like, here's my thing. Everyone who's saying you can't draft a receiver round one, I'm just going to simply say shut the hell up, because when you get the opportunity to take a guy who has the new 40-yard dash record, maybe you do it. Just crazy thought. Maybe you do it because look at the other stuff. A 41-inch vertical, a 10-foot, 11-inch broad jump. The measurables, it's a little small. He's a little short. When does that ever stop the Saints from bringing in a player who's small and short? Darren Sproles, Drew Brees, Jake Hayner, just to name a few. Just to name a few. And if Worthy is a Saint, just picture this with me. Just hear me out for 1 second. This would be the toughest room in all of the NFL to defend. There would not be a DB group amongst any of the 31 NFL teams, the 31 other NFL teams, that would be able to stop the Saints wide receivers. You have speed, you have elusiveness, you have jump ball ability, contested catch ability, and did I mention speed? Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, and Xavier Worthy. Oh my God, that might be the fastest wide receiver group I have ever seen. And then on top of that, you have A.T. Perry, who is a jump ball expert and an absolute beast when it comes to having the ball in his hands. It felt like anytime the ball was headed to Perry, he was making a big-time play. You see the production on your screen. This would just be a fun one. Like, I'm just going to put it out there. I'm not advocating for a wide receiver one, but if you get the option to take one of these guys and you're not in love with any of the offensive linemen on the board or any of the defensive linemen on the board, why the hell not just take a waiver and make your wide receiver group a young, cheap, and extremely talented core? That's just my question. So if you guys want to interact with me or get any more of my coverage on social media, I put a lot of stuff out there before I get to these YouTube videos. Give me a follow on X. I had a tweet that just got about 4.1 million views, so go check it out on my profile. Well, almost at 2,000 followers. That'd be sick if I got there. Instagram, I'm at 1,800 followers. TikTok, only about 260, but I've only had TikTok for a little bit now, so I'm just trying to start to get my game moving. So if you want to give me a follow on any of these three platforms that you are on, my links will be in the comment section and description of this video. And as always, Saints fans, y'all stay golden. We'll see you live at 4 p.m. Central Time.